Number 10, don't mess with Texas. The worst case of road rage local police in Carrollton, Texas have ever seen took place back in March 2021 during a chain collision crash. A witness named Dennis McCullough says the situation was surreal. He was driving along the I-35 when suddenly the car in front of him slammed on its brakes, causing McCullough's airbags to go off and knocking him out briefly. When he regained consciousness, he saw the man who caused the crash. 26-year-old Dylan Stoffergen got out of his car and got into a violent brawl with some of the other drivers involved in the crash. He stabbed 2 men and choked another man out. Terrified, Dennis chose to stay in his car and record the fight. In his testimony, he said that Dylan looked like he knew what he was doing and probably received some kind of special training. Dennis recalls the man fighting 3 others and winning, fueled by his road rage madness. In his mugshot, you can see the injuries Dylan suffered during the fight. Half of his face was enlarged due to swelling, and he's smirking as if he had no regrets. Stoffergen had been charged with 3 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, and he's being held in the Dallas County Jail on $55,000 bail. Number 9, bikers gone wild. Bikers can be pretty intimidating. I mean, have you seen Sons of Anarchy? There's a reason people don't mess with them. On September 29, 2013, Lean and his wife and their toddler were headed to New Jersey for some shopping to celebrate the couple's anniversary. But when they hit Manhattan's West Side Highway, they crossed paths with hundreds of bikers. Some were popping wheelies and slapping the tops of vehicles as they passed. One motorcyclist tried to block cars to allow bikes to pass, but Lean was annoyed by this and wanted to get on with his day, so he kept driving through. As the bikes drove by, his wife tossed a half-eaten plum and later a water bottle out the window, which consequently hit one of the men on a motorcycle. While stopped at a red light, angry bikers pulled 35-year-old Alex Lean out of his Range Rover. Apparently, the men in helmets were banging on Lean's window, threatening to kill him. On the witness stand, his wife later admitted that they thought one of the men was using the butt end of a knife to bang on the window. Obviously frightened, Lean and his wife stepped on the gas, accidentally running over one of the bikers and paralyzing him in the process. The gang followed the car, and the next time the car stopped, they pulled Lean out of the driver's seat, threw him to the ground, and beat him to a bloody pulp. Lean's wife and child in the backseat could do nothing but watch in absolute horror, screaming for them to stop. Thankfully, no one was killed in the accident, but Lean's family was definitely traumatized. And here's the wild part. One of the bikers was an undercover cop, and he assisted in the vicious beatdown. In court, 9 members of the biker gang, as well as the undercover cop, faced jail time for the incident. Number 8, Englewood Rage. A young woman was arrested in June of 2020 for allegedly slamming into a man's truck and attempting to run him over as he exited the vehicle. The incident took place outside the Englewood Police Department in Colorado. The suspect, Erica Boudreau, was reported as having left a tattoo parlor after a few drinks when a man in a pickup truck allegedly began following her and yelling slurs at her. Their argument raged on until the truck driver came up to the parking area outside the local police station. According to a witness, Erica then plowed her SUV into the parked truck, driving it across a manicured grass area and through a security wall. When the truck driver got out of his car, Erica backed up before proceeding to accelerate again in an attempt to hit him where he stood. Erica's SUV collided with a light pole as the man raced to the station for help. She then attempted to flee the area on foot but was apprehended by Englewood police. Erica was charged with attempted first-degree assault, criminal mischief, DUI, careless driving, and driving while her license was suspended. Number 7, Wrong Person. During a violent road rage episode on July 6, 2019, an Alabama woman was accused of mistakenly shooting her own husband in the head while aiming for another person. The 31-year-old was arrested on counts of attempted murder, assault, and reckless endangerment after authorities said she fired a shot during a violent road rage exchange that began along Highway 69 in Dodge City. Authorities stated that the incident started along the roadway around 6:45 p.m. and escalated at a residence in Bremen. When Cole allegedly attempted to kill another person, she mistakenly hit her husband, Nicholas Cole, shooting him in the head. Following the incident, he was brought to a local hospital and was in stable condition. Erica Cole was arrested on counts of shooting her husband in an effort to shoot someone else in an act of road rage. It's unclear what prompted the argument between Erica Cole and her intended victim, or whether they had any previous history before the violent confrontation. Erica Cole was held at Coleman County Detention Center without bond. Number 6, 5 years of Autobahn anger. A 57-year-old truck driver in Germany was getting more furious every day as traffic started to pile up around him. So he decided to do something unimaginable. He pulled out a gun and started shooting at over 700 cars on the German Autobahn. And he didn't do this just one time. He was firing at passing vehicles coming from the opposite direction off and on for 5 whole years. There isn't a set speed limit on the Autobahn, so you can bet those cars were zooming. In his years of hunting cars, only one person was actually hit by a bullet. In August of 2018, one of the trucker's victims was shot in the neck. Their vehicle knocked another car off the road and caused an accident. And why did he do this? Well, besides the road rage, he claimed to enjoy it. He said his favorite cars to shoot were the shiny new ones being transported on the back of semi-trucks. Bullet holes found on some of these cars is finally what led authorities to the gunman. Would you rather find bullet holes in your car or find out someone stole your wallet? Tell us which will be worse in the comments below and hit that subscribe button while you're at it. Number 5. Demanding justice. Everyone's family is a little bit crazy. The Syrian President Bashar al-Assad knows this all too well, because unfortunately for him, his cousin Suleiman al-Assad keeps making news headlines for crime-related incidents, consequently dragging the president's name through the mud as he does it. In 2015, one of these incidents involved a bad case of road rage. Suleiman was accused of murdering Air Force Colonel Hassan al-Sheikh on the coastal province of Latakia. Suleiman was trying to beat traffic, but there was just no way around it. Supposedly, al-Sheikh was in the car next to him and refused to get out of his way. This infuriated Suleiman enough for him to pull out a gun and shoot the colonel right through the car windows. Thousands of people flooded the streets in the provincial capital of Latakia to protest the colonel's wrongful death. They demanded justice and were worried that the relationship between the president and criminal was so close that he might get away without proper punishment. The wife of the colonel told news outlets that she had received a personal promise from President Bashar that the culprit would be brought to justice. He held true to his word, and Suleiman was sentenced to 20 years in jail for his actions. Number 4. Dodge Charger. On September 4, 2021, a 27-year-old woman was shot and killed during a road rage incident in Austin, Texas. Cornelia Moore, the victim, had contacted the authorities at around 12:30 p.m. saying that a silver Dodge Charger was tailing her and engaging in, quote, road rage type conduct on Interstate 35. Moore reported that the individual hit her vehicle and then proceeded to aim a gun at her. Moore was shot by the driver of the Charger while still on the phone with emergency dispatchers, but she was able to disclose her position before losing consciousness. Austin Police Department officers discovered the woman's vehicle on I-35 southbound Service Road, and despite the fact that first responders conducted life-saving measures for her, she was pronounced dead at the site after bleeding out due to a single gunshot wound. Homicide investigators identified 2 individuals who were thought to be in the Dodge Charger at the time of the shooting. 32-year-olds Tony McCullough and Rafeen McCorkle were both arrested and accused of Moore's murder. On September 9, 2021, friends and family honored the victim with a balloon release at Silker Park in Austin. Number 3. Car full of felonies. A 24-year-old woman was arrested in September 2021 after pointing a handgun at another driver during a road rage incident in Truckee, California. Mia Renee Gamboa of Merced was detained by State Highway Patrol police shortly before 6 p.m. on September 6th. Gamboa allegedly became entangled in a heated dispute with another motorist on Interstate 80, whom she threatened with a firearm. The armed woman was sitting in the passenger seat of the vehicle at the time of the incident, with a white male, thought to be her boyfriend, was driving. 3 young children were also in the car, none of whom belonged to Gamboa. Following the suspect's arrest, authorities searched the vehicle and discovered 2 firearms, more than $10,000 in cash, and an unprescribed bottle of OxyContin pills. Police questioned the male motorist, but he was not arrested or charged with any crime. Gamboa was eventually charged with brandishing a firearm, endangering a child, and possessing narcotics with the intent to distribute. Number 2. The Queens road rage robbery. An infuriated driver assaulted and robbed 2 people following a traffic confrontation in the New York City neighborhood of Queens on May 8, 2021. Surveillance cameras nearby captured the event, which showed a white Nissan Sentra colliding with a gray Honda Accord at 7 p.m. The Nissan's 23-year-old driver and his older male passenger exited the vehicle, while 27-year-old Giovanni Padin stepped out of the Honda with a female passenger and demanded money for the damage caused by the incident. Padin then attacked the 2 men, hitting one of them in the face and knocking him to the ground. The attacker stole the victim's cell phones as well as the elderly man's wallet, which allegedly held an ID and bank cards. Padin and his female companions then returned to his vehicle and fled the scene. Padin was conclusively identified as the assailant by the NYPD investigators, and he was detained on May 12th. He was charged with second-degree assault and second-degree robbery in connection with the road rage incident. Number 1. Honolulu mother. An enraged woman pursued and berated a man who had cut her off at a shopping center in Honolulu, Hawaii, as her young child sat in the passenger seat. Kimberly Ong and Ryan Arakaki got into a heated argument on September 10, 2014. The latter's vehicle had cut in front of the woman near Pearl Harbor's Moanalua shopping center, nearly causing a rear-end catastrophe. Ong was enraged outraged by the man's irresponsible driving and proceeded to follow him for an estimated 5 minutes. While following him, Ong yelled profanity-laced remarks through her window and made obscene gestures at him. Arakaki took out his cell phone and began filming the altercation. At one point during the argument, Ong stopped in the middle of the road and got out of her car to confront the man. She poked her head through the driver's side window and continued to berate Arakaki while her child sat in the car. After the tension subsided and the two parties parted ways, Arakaki posted the footage on the incident online, where it gained hundreds of millions of views. The man deliberately disobeyed the law by using his cell phone while driving, but he claimed he needed proof of Ong's assault. The woman's descent into Arakaki's car was declared, quote, unauthorized entry into a motor vehicle by investigators. Talk about setting a bad example for your kid. Thanks for watching. Do you have any crazy stories about road rage? Tell us about it in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe. See you next time on The Bad Badger.